pick the Ziggs yourself.
Yeah.
And then lane swapped, you know? And I know lane swap with Ziggs is a bit of a contentious subject, but maybe just find a matchup for King where he could be stable, lane swap against it, but maybe you're concerned you get perfected where it's like Renekton into Vayne. I guess they just really don't want to deal with that when they're one game away from losing. It's going to be very small to Nasus for T1. And on the other side, are they going to ban the Ziggs? That is the question.
I think it sort of has to be banned. Yeah, there it is. And so now Azir first pick up and available if Faker would like to take it. We've seen it banned throughout the series.
I always think it's interesting in a draft when, you know, a pick is super high priority in terms of bans, and then it gets left open and the teams don't immediately prioritize it. This is not going to be one of those cases.
Nope.
They lock in the Azir for Faker. Faker having a pretty good game in the last one on that Corki, which makes me wonder, what are D+ going to take into it? And you know, the LeBlanc didn't go super hot last time, but it is a matchup we've seen into Azir a lot. Maybe they lean into that and don't. No, they're picking Maokai. Don't go Maokai LeBlanc again. I don't.
Yeah.
Anything.
As long as
if you go Maokai, that's fine. Don't go Maokai LeBlanc.
Yeah, I'm okay with anything as long as it's not the LeBlanc.
But I'm going to be honest. You know, Maokai has been really strong, but I think D+. Obviously, everyone. You know, we know Aiming's had a fantastic season, but I think D+ as a whole have looked so good when Lucid Showmake have had their duo combos and played those pairings that really like the Lee Sin LeBlanc. So I'm not. You know, put the Maokai in, they do have the MF for the follow-up. They'll probably end up leaning towards Rel if they go this. Aiming has had some good MF games, but it's not the picks that I think have really defined this team with their success in the regular season.
Yep, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, by the way. It is going to be the Sejuani almost guaranteed here by Ona.
And I think, you know, we've seen Maokai have a really high win rate against Sejuani in the regular season. You can even see the win rate pretty low there. I think a big reason why they put so much value on having the Maokai here, and what Ona's doing to make it work, is he's just consistently body blocking whenever the ult comes down. And he makes sure his backline isn't threatened, isn't rooted. And now the Jin's on the side of T1. Guma, obviously someone who's a lot more experienced playing the pick than aiming.
Oh no, I don't want this. I just want them to lock Rel. Just pick Rel and allow Showmaker to play something a bit weird. Corki is less bad than LeBlanc. There you go.
Yeah. You knew the AD profile. You know, we saw before the Hex Drinker basically turned Faker immortal. W in a lot of situations really had to be in a bad spot to die in that last one. And now, going for the bans in the next part of the draft, banning away the Camille from Zeus, and presumably it's going to be Rel on 4, and then on 5 we get Kingdom's pick, and they're really trying to elevate him and put him into a position where he has the strongest chance possible. So T1, I would ban the Rel, and then you'll find a ban the GP away from Kingan as well, especially with the Camille gone, but I think the Rel ban seems like a very good idea.
Yep, I wouldn't mind an Alistar ban as well, just to stop Carrier from being able to play that one. Kind of try and force T1's hand, banning the Rel themselves, and otherwise you get Leona, and then you're kind of okay with it.
I think maybe if D+ ban Leona, I mean, T1 probably just ban Rel, but Leona's been really good into the MF because you can long range ult to stop hero. The problem with Alistar is you're a lot shorter range, and you can sometimes get stuck in the fight trying to make it to the MF, so I think that's a good ban from them. And now T1 probably just ban the Rel in this situation, unless there's something that really screams ban this from top lane.
Well, it is LeBlanc.
I think that's a bit of a wasted ban. I really don't rate it. I mean, I guess they could play Corki top, and that's what they're afraid of. But yeah, I think now D+ just take the Rel and then decide what they want to do with that 5th pick.
Yep, I think the Rel certainly standing out here. Let's see what Carrier decides to do. If it's Braum, I may leave. But it's probably not going to be.
It might just end up being Alistar in this situation. You know, we've seen a lot of Alistar into Rel. You can use ult to cleanse the Maokai ultimate that comes in.
Powerful front line as well.
I feel like a theme that T1 have kind of had is having this like strong jungle support, really tanky champions. Like, you know, Rel and Maokai are tanky, but they're not Sejuani Alistar tanky, and I feel like that's been a theme in this series for T1. Nars going to come through for Kingin. Earlier in the split, we did see this blinded a lot. Sometimes punished, sometimes not. We'll see what Kingin wants to pick into it.
It's a Gragas angle. It's a Bomba.
That would make it quite hard for Guma to ever ult. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know whether that'd be good, but we have seen him do it before. As the Brad, that'd be fun. This is a cow.
You know, I'm talking about how the Leona, the long-range interruption, the MF ult, Bard could have done that so fantastically, but yeah, ends up going for the Alistair. Makes a lot of sense here.
This would be bold, Kingen.
Kingen said something then. It looks like you're saying like, no, don't do that.
Silas is really fun.
It's a very high-value ult game for Silas, but I'm not sure how easy the lane would be.
Wouldn't he be playing mid?
Recently. I mean, I guess, yeah, they could put it
never mind.
mid and they could put the Corki top. That's a question. We don't know where everything is going right now. We'll see them swap and finish things out. I think ultimately Yone and Corki, both champions we've seen played into Azir a lot.
Yep. So I think either of them are pretty happy with how things are going. And it looks like it is going to be Kingen on the ranged top lane. Of course, this is the guy that debuted Smolder top, debuted Twisted Fate AD top lane as well here in the LCK. So certainly no stranger to playing a few of these AD carries in the top lane.
I think it's a good matchup as well. One of the things with Na is he's very short range in his mini form early. He gains range with levels. So playing into an actual range champion is a struggle. We've seen him struggle into Kennen. Corki has such powerful trades. I think top lane matchup going to be rough. You also have that Na Sejuani synergy that isn't really there compared to having a true melee champion. You know, the Yone into Azir, you can weather the storm, pose that threat later. I think this is a lot more a draft that gives a lot more tools to D+ in this situation. I think T1 is still okay, but I'm a little bit concerned about some of these lane matchups, and top in particular being a problem.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. I do think that D+ have a better draft than they had in the last game. The last game, it was borderline unplayable. This time feels a little bit better, but Faker has Azir. This is where they tend to make things happen. There is zero permafrost synergy, and often T1 makes that work as well, outside of, I guess, the Alistair and Meganar. But D+, they were cooking a little bit in this one. I expect, like, if you don't like Leandries on Maokai, step away. This is not the game. Let's dive into the rift. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Match point for T1. After their last victory, and D+ made the courageous decision to go on to red side. Which does mean it's a conundrum moving into game 5 for T1 if they lose this one.
Yeah.
Because what then do you choose? You know?
I think the nice thing about that and the fact that T1 got that earlier game is that they get to choose. So if they're like, look, Kingen having counterpick, having that flexibility was an issue, they can swap to red side. If they just want to tweak the draft a little bit, they can stay on the same side on blue. So pros and cons, always a difficult decision in a series. And if we get to that game 5, will be something for them to reevaluate. But for now,
this feels like the first game of playoffs without Ziggs.
Pretty much.
That's what it feels like. I think there has been 2 other Ziggs bans or something like that.
I think the problem is we've seen... So Ziggs has obviously been picked on blue side. Yeah, a bit of a trade there. Ziggs has been picked on blue side, and red side just has too many picks to bans. And especially this later stage of playoffs, it feels like each team has just forced bans specifically against them, and it's why we've seen the LeBlanc and the Azir now being left open kind of back to back, because these are picks that people were banning against these players and currently are not. And you know what, Zeus? I don't feel any sympathy for you after the KT series.
Yeah, after what you did, this is justice for perfect.
Absolutely. Hopefully he's watching at home and he's just like, yes, do it, King. Make him pay.
Well, I mean, these first few levels certainly going to be very, very rough. As Moham doesn't find the crash down, that's a deadly flourish, and the punish is very large. Of course, you don't get to proc the aftershock, so that means you're very squishy while you're sort of just standing there.
And we're so used to Carrier playing these range picks, these eclectic picks, and he's returning to things like Leona last game, the Alistair this game. His laning has been really sharp. I feel like his decisions around this rel, when to trade, when to use his cooldowns, has actually netted T1 decent advantages in the bot lane, so continuing to see that there. And Zeus, lane looked horrible, looking like he's doing a little less horribly now.
Yep. Meganar is, of course, going to help feed you a bit of health every now and again. And so you can see he's able to get back towards some farm parity. Kingen just holding the wave here at the turret. He does have his jungler towards the top side of the map as well. Owner is over here. We'll see whether they can set something up to try and play this one defensively. As, yeah, Owner is going to be jumping onto his blue buff, and I don't know how much he can actually do to try and influence. As Rift Scuttle Vision going to be picked up here by D+, just retaining as much control of this top side as they possibly can. And now Aiming could be in trouble here, has to flash the Deadly Flourish. Moham, a little bit late, left his AD carry alone. That is going to spell the Summoner spell.
Ideal situation is you get a bit closer so that you can just W and force Aiming's flash, but Carrier knew that Moham was coming behind him, didn't want to leave it late and then end up on the tower, so just takes the trade there. And
oh, doesn't trade though, Hex Flash.
Oh, true, unlocks his Hex Flash.
Activate.
Value, but also taking it off the immobile Misfortune, definitely something you can capitalize on. So we'll see if T1 make a move to punish that later on. This is part of the problem that's playing into Yone, is that Yone just goes to setup with like Second Wind, Doran Shield, Fleet Footwork, and also has no mana, so even if you trade, you just still lose, even if you're trading advantageously.
Yeah, it's a little bit worrying. Speaking of worrying, Moham possibly in trouble here, as Lucid trying to move down. Moham does have his flash, but wasn't able to use it, and the owner was in the area. So that meant they were able to lock down First Blood. Gumayusi grabs that one, and I think this Jhin game is going to feel a lot better than the last one.
Yeah, bot lane just kind of bleeding out in the 2v2. You know, this isn't influence from junglers. Guma and Kerry on sharp form, and not only beating Aiming's flash earlier, but able to get the kill on a Moham now. Kerry threatening here, using a Hex Flash.
Yeah.
As he has unlocked it. And all in all, top lane isn't going that hot for Kingen, considering how rough the matchup could have been. But yeah, Moham looks for Guma, but doesn't connect. And
yeah, it great cleanse. Great cleanse.
Really good. And then one shot in is the Rel. Not great options to get out, especially as he dismounted. You know, if you remount, you still have that movement speed available, but you're so slow when dismounted. And yeah, I mean, this is my takeaway, is that the fact Zeus can do this matchup is not going how I expected to. I thought Kingen would have a lot more pressure here onto Zeus, so he's fine in the top lane. Bot lane's winning for T1. All in all, things are looking positive.
Yeah, things are looking really good. T1 on track for the 3-1 finish to this series, with then Just Be Humble Life Esports standing in their way once again. We're recycling the scripts here in the LCK. Basically how it goes, just getting a little bit lazy.
Has anyone checked on the script writers?
Well, this is the thing. As, all right, Carrier goes in, looking for a little bit of an angle here, but it's not exactly the most value as Lucid, possibly now the one out of position. The Unbound Soul coming back up again for Showmaker relatively soon as they're looking to start these grubs, aiming, wanting to catch the wave that's moving towards the bottom side. That is going to be grubs picked up, or at least the first one here by Lucid with the smite. As aiming moves on over, makes it rain. Gumayusi still in the area as Crashdown comes through there from Moham. There's the Pulverize onto 2, gets onto Showmaker into the backline. Moham going to be the target though, and Ona takes him down. Now Kingen forced to use the Valkyrie, so now has to flash if he wants to get over this wall. Lucid to try and get in there, and he does. Oh, but the Gnar is so good from Zeus. And Owner is there for the follow-up as well. Not this time, Lucid. Zeus throws a house at him, and T1 are already running away with this one.
D+ go on to red side to give Kingen the advantage in the matchup, and Zeus just doesn't care. Stomps him to the ground, catches Lucid too. At this game already 2,000 gold lead at 7 minutes. Things are looking rough for D+. This looked like the season where they could challenge. They could make it to the top, but they are in a bit of a hole in this game so far. They'll have to try and find an angle back into it. They lose out on the grubs. You can see Lucid moving over towards the bot side with Dragon up and available, but I think maybe reeling a little bit after that play.
Ooh, gets the flash out. Actually commits to the crash down there, does Moham.
It was a good flash because his cleanse isn't quite up and available. Couldn't make the same escape as he did last time, so pretty nifty one there from Guma.
Yep, still have to use it. Aiming doesn't have his though. So D+. They are still in this, right? But 1.5k is a decent advantage now for T1, and they also get the majority of the objective here as well. We look at Moham go for it.
That dash from Faker, honestly, so good. I mean, I feel like it's hard to fault Moham, but they're playing around this rel so well. They're so ready for it to look for this engage. And then here, perfect timing on the Mega Gnar here for Zeus.
Yeah, the Gnar is just so well placed. tells him to chill out a little bit.
And also notice that like he disengages from the Corki, so there's no chance the Corki can burst him back. He like backs off, lets Ona get the kill, and then knows the Maokai doesn't have threat. Beautiful play.
Going in once again as great pulverize. I mean, Keria is really showing us in ways that a lot of other players weren't quite able to, why the Alistar is good into the realm.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is we often hear these things about these matchups and we see it and it doesn't always come to fruition. And then you see it piloted by some of our best and you really get it.
Yep.
And Keria put on a masterclass right now. Ona will spot the Maokai, and if you look at the gold lead across the board, there is advantages. I think the most crazy one is the fact that there's a 900 gold lead for Ona over Lucid right now.
Yeah, it's monstrous. This red buff now under fire as Moham just looking to be that front line, wanting to hold that so that the tree can pick it up. You can see a bit of a wander back to lane as Aiming still looking to put that Bloodthirster together. Hasn't quite got that one done yet. As decent knock up there from Showmaker. He's able to get back to his soul, so he's all right.
Yeah, he's okay. Guma gonna probably get a plate here. But yeah, I think as well, you know, obviously having a lead in a Sejuani, it's not the person you're like, oh, we won off Sejuani fed. But the fact of seeing the early Locket Rush and Lucid going to Leandri's is a lot more expensive, just so far ahead there. But Locket in these early skirmishes is so strong.
Owie. Okay, Kingen still a little bit scary. But he's not that far ahead, right?
I expected to see more of this, I'm going to be honest. You know, more Corki just melting Nara in the trades. And, you know, Zeus gets chunked out, but he's fine. He's got a Cull.
Well, Zeus is going to jump on top of Lucid here, but he had a friend on his way. And that is a Valkyrie out, but that means Lucid is well and truly dead. And so it was DK setting up for the play, and it's T1 that profit.
Yeah, and Lucid, you can see him in the player cam, pretty frustrated by this one. It's difficult. He's trying to find an avenue back in, but it just keeps getting worse and worse. And now with Demolish, T1 going to get loads of damage onto this tower. Showmaker trying to aggress mid, but doesn't find anything. Keria.
Oh, yeah, the Unbound Soul's there. There's the flash. Gets the pulverize. There's the Emperor's Divide. The ulti out here from Showmaker finds an angle. But there is Ona on his way. And I don't know how the Yone is going to be able to escape this one. Oh, the Blast Cone! Okay, Showmaker able to get a flash, and he's going to live.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to back on a ward. I'm a bit scared about that one. Make it rain coming down here towards his bottom lane. Good sidestep there from Gumayushi. Throws down the cleanse as well. Showmaker gets a shield. Is this the bait? The answer's no. As Faker is just going to be able to take him down. Permafrost comes in, and Faker flashes just for good measure. Gumayushi eating all of the spells in the bottom lane. And yeah, Moham has to get out of there. Lucid,
Flash?
yeah, he does have flash. And that is going to be the kill. So Lucid is finally on the board. But man, this is not a great trade.
If Guma got out there, it's just game over. It's just
oh yeah,
over.
no,
Like,
that's FF.
couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle it, but it's
That's over and out.
That is over and out indeed. Yeah, so great bait here by Zeus. Just walks in the brush in Mega. And D+ don't expect Ona to be there. Lucid ends up going down. Pretty straightforward. Nothing else he could do. Even Ona ulting Kingen to make him disengage. And then this later play, I think one of the mistakes was because Faker used the shuffle, they kind of pushed him so far away that he could ult freely. So he can find space to ult away.
Oh, that is another dead Corki situation. Well, this time a dead Corki situation instead of the tree. You can see Kingen a little bit upset with how things are going right now.
No, we didn't get to see the replay of it, but that top fight where Faker survived on like 2 HP, the Locker actually came in so clutch that to keep him alive. And Guma, you know, he's just weathering the storm.
Yep.
And T1 are just massively winning elsewhere. And D+ is trying to make things happen here. There is a big wave coming in, but Keria is coming too.
Yep, Guma's job is to exist without being a nuisance. And right now, he's doing a great job. Pulverize does come on through here. There's the Flash Magnet Storm. Lands onto both, though. Showmaker getting down here. Wants to try and lock up the Jhin. He does find it. And he's able to snap back. Takes a turret shot with him. And the house as well. Almost enough to take him down, but not quite. So DK able to at least grab themselves a dive.
I mean,
but they're going to need way more than this.
Showmaker's lucky that Yone has a slender figure, because the house was dangerously close there. But it's a good play from D+. They're making things happen. They know that even though T1 are fine with Guma weathering the storm, they have to make something happen somewhere. This play, Guma doing a pretty good job to dodge away from the crash down, gets Moham low. But just trying to ult and look for Moham, but is forced out of it by the MF ult, and then here chase down. Wasn't able to get like the Q auto there. Maybe didn't have enough mana and gets chased down.
Yeah. It was well played to follow it up, but it's a flash having to be invested. I feel like Guma just bought so much time. And then all of this other stuff happened, and our observers got a little bit confused. We're going back here. Have a look at this one as well, as Gumayushi does finally go down, and it's right on the edge.
But look at this house from Zeus. How it's like,
oh. Yeah. All right, Emperor's Divide here towards the bottom lane, as Faker is really dead. What does T1 get for it, though? Which is the question that we often have to ask. Zeus is just looking to dive this turret. There's the Gnar. Doesn't get the wallop, though, and Zeus not able to hit the house. As now Gumayushi could be in trouble. King in, trying to get some revenge. There's a lot of pent-up frustration, but he doesn't overextend. And the curtains have now been called. Some sidestepping to come through here. Headbutt pole, that's going to set it up. There's the flash out as King in gives him the thumbs up, and he goes 0-4. You can see grinning in the player cam. Not a whole lot he could do there.
King having a rough time, trying to make things happen. It's really not working. He's kind of abandoned top lane because it's very cooked, but
I feel like he's had these exact items for 10 minutes.
Doesn't inspire too much confidence, I'll tell you that much. And D+ do get the tower bot lane for the Gold King. And I will say, it's been scrappy. The game looks very doomed. It's still not in a great spot, but at least D+ are kind of clawing back some of the disadvantages.
Yeah, the more weird they keep it, I think the better it is for them. Because if they just fall into T1's rhythm and T1 just takes everything on the map and then wins and DK don't go for anything, that's when it's completely doomed, right?
Yeah.
DK, I think, still need to go for plays and try to take the risky way out. Yeah, Faker really wanted to get that wave.
That's on you.
Wait.
You know what? You know what?
Was Lucid standing on a ward?
I assume not.
Ah, because the rest of the team was kind of coming down. Maybe it was a bait move.
Maybe it was a bait, I don't know. But I think Guma should have warned Faker about the dangers in the bot lane.
Yeah, the bot lane
Faker wasn't aware.
Yeah, Faker's just been happily laning. Hasn't been too much attention. And that's not necessarily working out here. All right, aiming set up alongside Gumayushi here in this mid lane. As we've got some side laning happening as both the top outer and the bottom outer had been taken. It's part of the reason I think why DK were kind of within touching distance. I think they managed to take down that turret before the top one did fall down. But now back to about a 3,500 gold lead.
I think the two things in this game is that the game's not in a great state, but it's not like you have LeBlanc Maokai mid-jungle and you're just falling off a cliff.
Yeah, true.
There's the potential for like a big wombo combo, you know, aiming and Showmaker with Moham. You can see a window where if T1 make mistakes, they can be punished, but T1 definitely in firm control with a massive lead. Looking to establish some control around the Dragon area to get that next Drake. And I think part of the issue as well is that because you have an Alistar and because you have a Fed Sejuani, they can just face check everything. Yeah. And you don't have the damage to cut through them. I mean, you don't have that much damage in general because you're behind, but you definitely don't have the damage to cut through either of those targets. And I think as a result, T1 can kind of just take this one in a very measured manner. And when they're contesting space, you know, have the people who are super tanky do so.
And Zeus is now 2 levels ahead as well. So this counter matchup that King In was trying to set up for himself just hasn't really worked. He is still, like, you know, it's not as bad as last game, which says a lot more about last game, I guess. And this is not how this one is supposed to go.
Yeah. Especially the fact I mean, I think, you know, we can only speculate. We're not told the reason, but the fact they went on red side clearly was to get a matchup that was good for King. And
yeah.
Like, at least last time, like, you were kind of picked, right? This time, you're the one who's opting into it, and it just feels a lot worse.
Well, Moham gonna have to try and crash his way out of this one. Permafrost comes down though, and now Aiming's gonna have to come over. Does he find the ulti? He doesn't even look for it just yet as Lucid. Oh, that Bramble Smash Flash was pretty good. Faker not gonna find the sweep as now Showmaker looking for an angle. Bullet time comes in. Kerry able to tank for a while, does have the ulti, but they pile in on top of the Azir, and he goes down. Showmaker still has ult, as Gumayushi at full health, but Make It Rain comes down to slow him up.
Yeah, maybe a bit of an overstep
clears things out
there from T1. Banning the Seeker's Arm Guard and Owner's Flash, some big resources invested there. And they obviously do get Moham, but feels a bit deep. And you can kind of see how, even though they are still ahead, that there is threat on the other side that they have to be aware of. Now, Kerry is hanging around, but doesn't have Warmog, so
yeah, I feel like a lot of
health.
A lot of T1's lead does reside in the top lane in the form of the Gnar as well.
And the Sejuani, who is tanky, and that's about it.
Yep. And Owner is now in the back of a Dragon Pit. Showmaker chasing after him here. We can see the Maokai makes his way back.
This is a pretty late reset for T1. You can see Faker and Carrier coming out of the map. So if D+ want to do this, want to make it fast, it looks like they wait that Dragon.
We blinked for a second.
2 in bag. This is pretty good for D+. Now they have to try and protect their mid-tier 1 if they can. Aiming can just... Oh, he doesn't have ult, sorry. He won't be able to ult the wave. This might just be gone.
Yep. It's going to be a charge, and the turret is going to survive for the moment. But that's just, you know, a stiff breeze. That is going to fall down.
Satchel away. There's no Ziggs in this game, so...
Finally. We don't have to talk about, you know, Seraph's Embrace being built instead of Liandry's and things like that. In fact, we get Liandry's that we don't even want in this game. It's beautiful. Flash comes out from Gumayushi, who is really exercising his DNF buttons in today's game, as Crashdown just going to be once again interrupted. Moham is very annoyed of the existence of this Alistar. And Faker is just going to be split pushing here towards the top side of the map. Some cinders to be collected there as well, as Showmaker also gets one. It's a cinder off. As can he find an ulti angle? That's the question here. Doesn't actually look for it. Just Q's forward, doesn't quite get there. And you can see Showmaker actually able to put on a fair bit of pressure now. Let's have a look at this replay here, as this was a weird, messy fight.
Yeah, so they find Moham, and with the help from Guma, they're able to burst out the Rel. That's completely fine. But Carrier kind of gets held around, and then they commit here for Lucid, and Faker misses the Emperor's Divide. Does have the Seeker's Arm Guard to wait for time, but I think if they'd just taken the flash from Lucid, that's a completely fine play, and they would have gotten Dragon. Just committing for a bit more than was necessary, and it's kind of like, you know, we saw in previous games where like Flash was being burnt, and then it was like, okay, well now we can do Baron because they can't get in. In fact, that was D+ who did that against T1. I think they should have had that approach.
Whoa, we got another one here as Carrier goes in. Oh, actually level up, which is kind of crazy. Is aiming, can you find the out here is the question. The answer is no. Zayas just down. Oh, never mind. The Bloodthirster is so strong. And the ulti now comes in just to play interference there from Showmaker. Aiming. I don't know how he stayed alive there.
Yeah, I mean, good moves from D+, punishing the over-aggression from T1. Faker now overstepping in the whole of D+, trying to collapse in.
Oh god, I think this is a turret for Faker type angle here, but he's not actually quite able to take the turret down just yet. Ono just trying to hoof it towards his bottom lane, able to avoid the ulti with the twisted advance. Beautifully done. Shattering strike, and that is going to be a dead Faker. Kingin locks down that kill, his first of the game, and has reset his gold. Outer turret does fall in the mid lane. That is certainly good news. As Lucid looking to try and at least also steal away this Krug camp, and D+, they're fighting back.
They are, and the thing is as well, you know, the gold lead still looks big, but it's a 5-0-5 Sejuani. Most of that gold is locked up on the Sejuani, which
under ice.
Yeah, frozen over.
Yeah.
And here, they think they have aiming. It flashes out, and Zayas just walking at him with the mini-bar, but the healing comes in.
We need to get Yundo on that, see how much health aiming actually had. It looked like 2.
And then here, Lucid, you know, he's obviously trying to get in range for the perfect time for this W to dodge away from the ult, the Glacial Prism from the Sejuani. And the follow-up is there for the team. It's just back-to-back. D+ making good plays. And this game, especially with the fact they have 2 dragons in pocket, feeling a lot more contested.
Oh, yeah. We've got a game in our hands. It's actually here. He was down to 11 HP.
Well,
so that's better than 3.
That's 10 more HP than he needed.
Yeah.
So a bit of
kind of overshot it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe could have pulled it closer.
Yeah. Didn't need to really pop the potion. Let's be honest. Okay. Kingin now pretty scared of Zayas. I would be too. But aiming, I don't know whether he is, especially not after that last play. Is bullet time and takes down the Gnar. And you can see the shake of the head there from Zayas.
Yeah, it's a good move, because the thing is with the MF, you don't have TP, but you're so fast at navigating the map, it doesn't take long to get back. Kingin could recall and TP in if T1 started Baron. I just don't think they were in position to, so a great read from D+. And it feels like back-to-back-to-back, we're getting situations where D+ are finding advantages, aiming on top as the Gold King.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, you know, there's like a 1.6k gold lead between the junglers now. There is still a big gold advantage across the board, but I think the game is feeling better and better for D+ right now.
Yep. Not to mention the fact that a Maokai is going to do the same thing whether he has 10,000 gold or 15,000 gold. It's just, he'll have more time to do it or more health bar to do it. As we see here, I mean, in the 1v1, I think Zeus is still doing a great job, but not in the 2v1.
Oh yeah, now 15 seconds on that dragon. Only someone that's down is Aiming's flash, and, well, I guess Zeus can carry it, but only someone for D+. So T1, if they can find access to Aiming, that would be obviously massive to set up for this one. D+, if they don't see the window for this, they can just give up this dragon, and I think it looks like that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, it looks like that it's not a fight that they're willing to take.
What can often happen is teams who are behind, they start to make a comeback.
Great knock up here from Showmaker, but you've got a teleport coming in. Showmaker is down so incredibly low, and Zeus he had the auto in the air. That's going to lock that one up. Flash out from Kingin, but Faker's here as well. And the thumbs up comes through. It's a double. They'll take a Drake as well, and T1, they just destroy them. D+ just not even a single good decision in sight.
Zeus wants an honest 1v1. He is tired of the 2v1s, and he just dunks on Showmaker. And now Baron going to get started up. Lucid does have flash. Moham is there to provide vision.
I don't think you want to go for a 50-50 on this one. Lucid has shown that his smite button has been pretty good, as Moham just wants to get some buttons away from Carrier.
Wait!
Oh, there it goes. Okay, the Nature's Grasp does come on in. Owner and Gumushi don't have a lot of damage, though, as the bullet time comes through. They're trying to keep themselves alive. Faker is burning down inside the pit, and now Showmaker gets in. They do manage to take down the Baron. It's Gumayushi that gets it. He also kills the junglers. Now Showmaker in the back of the pit. He sidesteps the Arctic Assault, and that's going to be a double kill for the Yone. So T1, they got what they wanted, but it wasn't clean.
What was that? It was so scrappy. There were so many things that happened. Guma holding the fourth shot in the Jinnel for like 30 seconds, it felt like, to secure the Baron with it.
All right, they take down the turret. Gumayushi in trouble.
There were so many things that went on there. I think
things are still happening.
Still happening. Still trying to make things happen. This is just T1 DK, this series, it feels like the game goes in a direction and then it just goes in every direction at the same time. This is a pretty big play coming out from Zeus.
Yep.
Says he's fighting top, he's confident in his damage. The TP comes in, they get the follow-up, and the thing is he hits Mega at this perfect time. Ults to interrupt the Valkyrie as well.
And the wallop, like the wallop angle, the fact that it was right at max range, beautifully played there by Zeus.
Carrier knocks Lucid away, but Faker also leaves the pit, so they don't have damage on the Baron because Jin has to reload. So he's like, well, I'll just ult. And then Lucid, Owner's like, I'll stop Lucid getting the pit. But then they both flash in, and no one knows what's going on. Showmaker comes in, so Guma's like, whatever, let's just try and sync up my fourth shot with it. They do get it, but, you know, we have seen some controlled T1 Barons. That was like the least controlled I've ever seen. That was manic, but they got what they wanted. They still have a gold lead, and now they're trying to make use of this Baron.
And I tell you what, the conversation would have been very different if D+ had have somehow managed to take the Baron themselves, which was definitely possible.
Almost, honestly, there's a very good chance of it happening at that last moment.
Because look at this, the Rebel Baron power play is sitting at 700. Zeus is going to be able to push in this mid lane. That should be able to extend that gold get by a decent margin, especially with 1 minute left on this buff. Faker and Owner, the only two that don't have it. And Zeus going to be able to take that inner turret down in mid. D+, they're going to have to make a play, make a move. They want to stop Zeus from just kind of winning the game, or at least breaking their stuff.
He wants that 50 gold from the Nexus.
Yeah, that's a good 50 gold.
Lucid going to move in, and Zeus will sense the pressure and move back. So he's going to be safe from this one. Now looking to go towards bot lane and apply some pressure there. And the thing is, if the rest of T1 keep the pressure here,
look at them both standing on wards. That was very, very cute.
If T1 don't get engaged on the top side while Zeus is maintaining this pressure, they just win off the back of this. You can see T1 start to back away as they saw D+ pushing up. The Baron's nearly ended. Zeus can get some damage on this tower.
Yep.
He can take it, but there is Lucid moving in, so maybe he's a bit concerned about overstaying here.
Yeah, Lucid on vision right now, so they get the pings out.
Yeah, he will just back away. Doesn't quite get the tower, but it is low. Not a great Baron power play, I'm going to be honest, for T1. We've seen much more substantial ones. And also, often, like, taking the Baron can give you a big XP lead, but if we look across the board, the only real big XP lead is in the top lane. It's only a level, and he had that before. So
Yeah.
I think D+ managed to keep things within arm's length. It is a long arm, but it is still there.
Yep, Moham actually hitting level 11 first as well. Level 16 now done for aiming, so bullet time going to be upgraded. And I think Zeus is definitely the biggest problem here for D+ right now. Has been throughout the whole series.
Also, the double Randuins from Owner and Zeus, really great buy when there's so many. Well, that's one nice thing because Kingin hasn't built any crit items yet.
Yeah, there we go. When he gets that rapid fire cannon, you know, he'll be so upset.
You know, it's like you haven't even got close to your IE and you're already seeing the Randuin.
Yep.
Feel bad about it.
You're like, dude, why are you wasting your time on that? Okay, Lucid can be in a lot of trouble here and will be just taken down. Gumiushi locks that one up, and the Nature's Grasp comes down as well. Moham, oh, can he see the angle? Then flash out from Gumiushi, just too good. Aiming now, trying to frontline. Actually kind of almost finds an angle, but he doesn't. That's going to be the Emperor's Divide used in celebration, as Zeus had already just killed everyone. Double kill for Faker as well, as they manage to get the Deadly Flourish. That's going to finish off the ace. And I think T1 might be starting their journey again as they finish off D+ here in Game 4. D+, I mean, they had that one good one, but after that, it was all downhill from there, and T1 looking to try and take their rightful place in the final of the LCK. They've still got one more target, though, to do it.
You can never count them out. No matter what, T1 always find a way to bring it back, always find a way to sort of resurface in the playoffs. Struggles, tribulations, they will go through them, but they bounce back, they return to that form, and I feel like T1 managed to find that edge above D+. D+ who had a fantastic regular season, not able to bring it today, and T1 will advance to the LCK Summer Lower Finals. They will be traveling with us to...
Yeah, Gyeongju. Going to be playing on Saturday next week. Going to be a whole lot of fun. Can't wait to see what T1 are going to be able to do, whether they can once again repeat history, because last time they faced off against Homolife Esports, it was not close. It was not even a little bit close. And this time could be very different.
I feel like Homolife have to be a bit nervous after seeing this, because I think it's one of these things where people get like, I do it as well. You get this view of a team in your mind, you're like, this team's at this level, it does adjust a bit, and I just feel like the variance with T1 is so massive, the upswing that they can have. Yes, they lost to Homolife Esports 3-0, but I'm really looking, Kuma, a little bit of a celebration. I'm really looking towards that next series and being like, HLE cannot underestimate them. I'm sure they won't, but it is a big opponent to go against them, and it is obviously a bit sad for D+. Moham, who came into the team, had such a great addition, I think really struggled into Carrier today. Carrier really
having a day out.
Stepping up to another level to challenge Moham and giving him some defeats on that rel. But, you know, it's Moham's first LCK playoffs. Don't think he should be disappointed. He definitely had some great games.
He only played, like, what, 16 games or something like that in the regular season in summer here. And I think that he has shown some great development even over that time. So the regional gauntlet going to be where we're going to see D+ next.
That's the thing. D+ still can make it to Worlds, you know, and T1 can still make it to Worlds, if anyone was wondering, because people ask that a lot.
Yeah, as it turns out, T1 is still in the playoffs. They can make it to LCK Champion, and they can also make it to Worlds.
That we could qualify. Some great moves here, though. Fake with a dash away from Moham's engage here. And I think that's why this game will feel rough for him, because it feels like T1, they knew Moham, his sort of proficiency on the rel. They really played around, reading when he was going to look for these engages and avoiding it. And Zeus just had some masterclass moments in a matchup I thought was going to be really rough. Proved otherwise. Kingin, who had such a fantastic season, people saying, you know, he could have even been higher ranked in the All-Pro, could have been second. I voted for him second, he got third. Zeus not too happy about that one, and definitely showing a return to form.
Yeah, Zeus really he's kind of kept T1 in the playoffs. Almost single-handedly having so many of these phenomenal performances, bringing out these old picks in that KT series, of course, making Perfect's life a living hell, and has done a very similar thing here, as Kingin just could not stand up to him. Signature picks facing off against one another, and Kingin's did not look so good. But this is what peak T1 kind of looks like, right? When they can play for the lanes and then it looks almost impossible to play into them, when they always seem to have the answers. And this is an example of that.
I think ultimately the big ones for me today was jungle, support, and top. I think those two really stepped up massively. Faker had some good performances as well, the Corki in particular. But those two, I think, were the recipe for success. But Puma's flash here also fantastic.
Yeah, I think maybe they just had an inkling that Roham was looking for it.
And the thing is, you can play around the rel if you're using the summon as well. The engage isn't the fastest. It's not a lawless where you just can't flash the ult. And T1, the convincing win there. And a 3-1, a lot of 3-2 votes. You know, a lot of votes towards D+ as well, but T1 come through strong and continue that streak they have against D+. It feels like they always have an answer to them.
Yeah, it feels like the mental edge is what needs to be taken into account when you're seeing T1 versus DK. I felt like DK's form was looking good enough to be able to win here today. That was not the case outside of that one game. And yeah, they managed to stabilize for a decent amount of this game, but T1 just, they're the ones that were able to make the moves, and they did so beautifully.
That's the positive I was saying this last game for D+, is that even though the early game went to absolute hell, they still kept looking for angles, finding fights, they didn't just give up. So I think that's a good omen for them going into the regional gauntlet. They can re-examine some of the issues here and still hold strong, still make it to Worlds. But T1 just leveled up. I think it's very clear to see. And even over the course of the series, it feels like they leveled up as well. So a fierce opponent traveling towards those lower bracket finals.
And traveling towards Gyeongju as well. And this is the thing, as T1 progress through a patch, they just get better and better. As they progress through a tournament, same thing can be said. And maybe we do start to get a little bit worried here for Humble Life Esports. I know my prediction is definitely going to be a T1 3-1. Because that's what happened last time, and our scriptwriters got bored and just decided not to write a new one for this season. Sorry about that, guys, but I guess we're just getting a repeat. Looking forward to the 5-game banger, T1 versus Gen G in the finals. It's now time to throw it over to a very smug gentleman who got his prediction right today in Dagon. Take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the post-match interview translation, joined by T1, who just took a 3-1 victory in the lower bracket of the 2024 LCK Playoffs Round 3, brought to you by Woody Bank. So let's hear from Zeus, owner, Faker, Gumayushi, Kyria, and head coach Koma. Congratulations! Thank you. Now, Zeus, you have made it to the lower finals once again. How do you feel? After losing the first game, I thought that was going to be a really rough battle. But afterwards, I think it was a clean game and smooth sailing onwards, so I'm very happy. So you got an unanimous POG in Game 2 with Camille. So how did you manage to capitalize Camille's strength against D+ Kia? So I felt like, just based on the comp, it was really a good Camille game where you can scale really well with Camille. And honestly, there were a bit of hiccups in the beginning, but I'm just really relieved that it went well in the end. And in Game 3, we got a Yone versus Aatrox matchup, and in your all-time match history, you are undefeated in a Yone versus Aatrox matchup over 8 games. So how confident are you in this matchup? So since I haven't really faced Aatrox in a while, I was a little nervous. But obviously, I feel like I was really familiar with the comp. So in the matchup, I was pretty comfortable. And now that you secured your way to Gyeongju, you will face Hanwha Life Esports in the lower finals. Any predictions? Honestly, yeah, we've struggled against Hanwha Life Esports in the past, but I believe that we are capable of making it to the finals. And Owner, you got a 3-1 victory and advanced to round 4. How do you feel? You know, I really wanted to make it to the lower finals at Gyeongju, and honestly, the 3-1 victory makes me very happy. What was the key point in preparing your match against D plus Kia today?
그쪽 중심으로 뱀픽을 좀 많이 준비했던
You know, D plus Kia does make a lot of plays around mid and jungle, so I think that's what we really focused on today. So you got 3 wins with just Sejuani, and it looked like your opponent prioritized Maokai over Sejuani. So what was your thought process here?
마오카이나 세전이
You know, it's really all
어느
preference.
정도 좀 달라진다고 생각이 들어서 그냥
But when you play
팀적으로 어떻게
Maokai
생각하느냐에
or
따라서 좀
Sejuani, it
다른 것
really does change the overall comp. So it really depends on the team.
다음 라운드에서의 모습도 기대가 되는데 결승 진출전에서의 각오
So
한마디
looking forward
들려주세요.
to the next round. What are your resolutions for
저희가 이제
the
또
lower
스프링
finals?
때처럼 지고 나서 다시 결승
No, just like
진출전을 가게
spring,
되는데 스프링 때처럼 꼭
We
이길 수
made it
있도록
to the lower finals
노력하겠습니다.
after
네,
losing,
기대해
so we'll
보겠습니다.
just make
자,
sure
이어서
that we are
페이커
able to make it to the
만나보겠습니다.
finals.
페이커 선수, D 플러스 기아를 상대로 연승을
Next
이어가고
up, we have
있습니다.
Baker.
오늘도 역시
You get to
승리를
continue your winning streak
이뤄내셨는데
against D plus
소감
Kia. So how does it feel to
오늘
defeat
굉장히
them
중요한
yet again?
매치였는데 이길 수 있어서 다행인 것 같고
Today was a
점점
very
이제
crucial match, and I'm just really glad that we're able to
저희가
win.
보여줄 게 많다고 생각하고 있습니다.
And honestly, the longer our playoffs run lasts, there's so many more of ourselves to show.
경기력이 좀
So what were your expectations against D plus Kia? You know, lately we haven't really been performing very well and struggled against even Hana Life Esports. But I believe that we were able to show what we got today. You played Corki in games 1 to 3, and then in game 4 you blind picked your signature Azir. So what are your thoughts on Corki and Azir?
선수들마다
As for mid lane right now,
다 선호하는 픽이 있고 좀
I
밸런스가
think
좀잘
there are
맞게
some
여러
preferences
챔피언들이 좀
that
보니까 그냥 다
mid
하기
players
나름인 것 같아요.
actually have. So I think it really ends up being a skills matchup and really how proficient they are in the champions. And so T1's current roster has an LCK Finals appearance rate of 100%.
이번에
So
좀
what are your
하나한테
resolutions
3대0으로
for keeping this number at
다음
100?
경기에서는 저희가 좀 복수할 기회가 생겼다고
You know,
생각하고
we
있고요.
have lost against our opponent
좀 다음 경기
before,
때는
but
좀
I believe that we
더
can
좋은
actually
모습
bring
보여드릴
it
수 있을
back
것
and
같습니다.
bounce back.
네, 기대해 보겠습니다. 페이커
and show you an
선수였습니다.
even
이어서
better
구마유시
performance.
선수 만나보겠습니다. 오늘
Next up,
LCK
구마유시.
통산 1,500킬 달성과
So you
동시에
have reached
정주행 티켓을
all-time
거머쥐었습니다.
LCK
또 깜찍한
1500
머리띠까지
kills
착용을
and
하셨는데요. 승리
secured
소감
a ticket to
들려주시죠.
Gyeongju. And by the way, an adorable headband that we were wearing. How do you feel?
프로게이머 하면서 좀 큰
You know, as a
경기장에서
professional gamer,
좀 많은 관객분들이랑 게임하는 거가
being able to
좋은
play
경험이라고
alongside
생각하는데
a
이번에도
big audience
또
is such a
기분
great
좋게
opportunity and
경주를 갈
experience.
수 있게 되어서 기쁩니다.
And luckily, we were able to make it to Gyeongju, which makes me very delighted. And in game 1, you brought out a new Nyla, a Zillion comp, and first picked Ziggs in games 2 and 3. So how much preparation work was involved in these picks?
하고 있고요.
You know, in the end, we just try to pull off as many picks as possible. And we really did work hard in preparing for today's match. And for Ziggs, I think I'm pretty confident with him. We actually did prepare, and I have practiced him since round 1. And so, how do you expect your match against Hana Life Esports will go?
3대0 당하긴 했지만 다시 이겼듯이
You know, even in
이번에도
spring, we
충분히
got
이길 수 있는
3-0'd by them, but
생각하고요.
just like how we won today, I think we are fully capable of defeating them. So we'll just be sure that we are ready for that match. And Keria, there was no room to back out in today's lower bracket match. So what mindset did you play with today?
오늘 꼭 이기고 싶은 마음으로 왔습니다.
No, I was really desperate for today's win, so I just came here today telling myself that I really want to win. So the key highlighted lane today was bot lane, and since aiming has such a high carry potential, how did you manage to disable and deny him?
게임을 하는데 이제 지금
So
메타에서는
DK actually does focus their play around aiming.
그런 하이퍼킬하는 챔피언들이 제한적이어가지고 이제 그런
And there are so much limitations right now regarding hyper carries in the bot lane, so I think we're just trying to deny those kind of picks as much as possible. And so in the match point, you were hovering Bard and quickly swapped to Alistar, and you seemed somewhat disappointed. So what was the discussion at the time?
이제 평소 같으면은
You know, as a team, we were trying to pick between Bard and Alistar. And I was really just hovering, or I was leaning towards Bard, but I thought about it, and you know, the skin sale has been, is close to being over, or it's already over, so I just went with Alistar instead. So any message to Hana Life Esports? You know, we lost against them, but just from watching the Hana Life Esports versus Gen.G, we just kind of downloaded how they play. I think they have revealed a lot of their gameplays and their tactics, so I think we have a better chance this time around.
자, 그렇다면 이제 감독님 만나보겠습니다. 감독님 오늘 경주로
Now let's talk to
향하게
Coach
되는데 소감
Goma.
들려주시죠.
So with today's victory, you are now Gyeongju bound. How do you feel? You know, we've never felt so desperate to try to get to Gyeongju, and just being
네,
able
오늘
to
경기를 위해서
qualify
많은 준비를
for the lower
하셨다고
finals
들었는데요.
makes me
감독님이
very
보시기에
happy.
오늘 경기력 만족스러우셨나요?
So personally, are you satisfied with today's performance? You know, we did lag in game 1. We weren't able to showcase what we
네, 이제
prepared,
경주로 가면
but
하나생명
the rest of the
e스포츠와
match
결승
really
진출자를
went and
치르게
proved
되는데요.
how much we have been,
가장
how much
중요한
work
점은
we have been
뭐라고
putting in.
생각하시나요?
So I'm pretty happy about that. So what is the key to the lower finals? You know, our front staff, the coaching staff, and our team, our players have prepared so much, and they have been working really hard. So I think in the end, the key would be just managing and maintaining their condition. You know, everyone has been saying that even if we start with 2 losses, we can always win and reverse sweep, because we have been preparing just that much. And any shout out to all the T1 fans who are hopeful to see you at the finals. You know, I always say that I am really grateful. And I want to say once again, thank you so much for always supporting us till the end. And against Hana Life Esports, I want to show you guys an opposite result from our last match. And lastly, Baker, any shout out to the fans? As always, thank you so much for all the support. And in Gyeongju, I just wanted to make sure that we spend the last parts of our playoffs with our fans, and I want to make everyone so happy. And that's the end of the post-match interview with T1, and stay tuned for the in-person interview at the space. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the space. Joining us is Victorious Jungler for T1, owner, as well as Jisun for the translations. Congratulations on your victory. Welcome to the Global Desk. Why don't you take a second to say hello to all of your global fans?
오늘 승리 정말 축하드리고요. 이렇게 또 LCK 글로벌 인터뷰도 응해주셔서 너무 감사드립니다. 가장 먼저 글로벌 팬분들께 한번 인사해 주실 수 있을까요?
네, 안녕하세요. T1의 정글러를 맡고 있는 오너 문현주라고 합니다. 네.
영어로도 한번 해주세요.
Yeah, can you say it in English?
Thank you. T1 정글 오너.
Good. That was good. That was good. This last series was very entertaining and a little tense, but you were able to get 2 POGs. What were some of the feelings and emotions that you had for today?
오늘 경기 사실 보는 입장에서는 정말 쫄깃하고 또 재밌었는데 직접 경기를 뛰는 선수 입장에서는 어땠는지, 특히나 오늘 경기에서 POG를 2개나 따셨어요. 오늘 경기 전반적으로 어땠나요?
일단 그래도 플레이오프 오면은 한 경기 한 경기 좀 많이 떨리는 것 같고요. 근데 어쨌든 저희가 많이 이런 경험을 많이 해봤기 때문에 그래도 다행이라고 생각을 했었고, 1세트를 지긴 했지만 2, 3, 4세트를 잘할 수 있다라는 확신이 있었기 때문에 잘 풀어갔었던 것 같습니다.
Well, actually, as we head over to playoffs, you know, the stakes are so high. I get kind of nervous in every game, but also I'm so relieved that we have so much experience to kind of handle with these jitters. Also, we were pretty confident that it didn't really matter. We dropped first game because we knew that we have the power to bounce back for the 3 games in a row.
Well, speaking of experience, this T1 roster always seems to have a little bit of trouble in the summer split. You guys did this year. You also did last year. What did you learn as a team and individually from this summer split?
사실 또 T1은 매년 서머 시즌에는 조금 우여곡절이 많은 것 같고 작년도 그랬고 올해도 조금 많은 일들이 있었던 것 같은데 언제나 또 마지막에는 또 폼을 회복하고 좋은 경기력을 보여주시는 것 같습니다. 그렇다면 올해는 개인적으로 어떤 부분을 많이 배웠다고 생각하시나요?
뭐 어쨌든 이렇게 계속해서 저희가 스프링보다 썸머 성적이 별로 좋지가 않은데 이런 부분에 있어서 멘탈 관리법이나 많은 이제 뱀픽적으로도 많이 배웠다고 생각을 하고 있고 또 그냥 게임 내적으로도 그냥 외적으로도 좀 그냥 살아가는 데 있어서도 조금 많이 배운 것 같아가지고 좋은 것 같습니다.
Well, I think I can say for sure that our results or the final outcomes are not as good as the spring season, but I think with this experience, we were able to learn how to keep the mental fortitude and also how to kind of refine our drafting. Also, outside of the game, I think I got a lot of life lessons this summer as well. So yeah, it was a very nice experience for me.
Can you give us one of the life lessons that you learned?
그럼 인생의 교훈 어떤 거를 얻으셨는지 하나 정도 알려주실 수 있을까요?
어쨌든 힘든 날이 있으면은 또 웃는 날이 무조건 올 수 있다라는 생각을 많이 했었고 그게 또 맞는 것 같아가지고 네 그거인 것 같습니다.
You know, there's always a silver lining, you know, even though you have some hard times, in the end, you know, you will shine bright.
All right, thank you. With this win today, you'll be heading to Gyeongju. And you are one win away from facing Genji for the 6th time. You still have to beat Hanwha Life Esports. How does that make you feel knowing that you could possibly be playing the same team in the finals for 3 years?
이제 오늘 경기 승리로 T1 역시 경주행에 오르게 되었습니다. 이제 1승만 더 달성하게 된다면 다시 한번 6번 연속으로 젠지와의 결승이 성사될 수도 있는데요. 이렇게 같은 상대를 연거푸에서 계속 결승에서 만난다는 건 또 어떤 느낌인지 그리고 하나생명전이 남아있는데 각오는 어떠신가요?
일단 결승전에 간다고 치면은 6번을 만난다는 것 자체가 너무나 좀 신기한 관계인 것 같고요. 그리고 또 어쨌든 젠지를 만난다는 거는 저희도 어느 정도 잘해왔다라는 뜻이라고 생각이 들어서 너무나 좋을 것 같고 다시 만나면 어쨌든 다시 만나기 위해선 하나생명전을 꼭 이겨야 되는데 저희가 스프링 때처럼 이겼던 만큼 저희는 더 올라갈수록 잘한다고 생각이 들고 오늘 승리를 위해서 더 기세도 탔기 때문에 이번 경주에서도 하면은 꼭 승리할 수 있다고 생각이 들어서 꼭 이기고 결승전에 갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Yeah, it still amazes me that we can face the same opponent for like 6 times in a row. And I think if we make finals, I think it also tells that we have been doing a great job as we are facing up against Genji in the final as well. But we also have to play up against Hanwha Life Esports. But with this win today, I think we were able to fortify our momentum really well. So I'm really excited to head over to Gyeongju and play out our games.
You know, when I think about this T1 roster, you all have been together for such a long time. In Global League of Legends, your roster has been together for such a long time. What makes this roster so special?
그리고 T1 정말 5명의 선수가 함께한 지 굉장히 오래되었고 전 세계를 놓고 보아도 이렇게 T1처럼 5명의 선수가 함께 오래 끈끈한 시간을 보낸 같은 기록을 보유한 팀이 없다고 저는 생각하거든요. 어떤 점이 이런 T1의 제호 패국회를 특별하게 만드나요?
정말 약간 어려운 질문 같은데 어쨌든 저도 잘 모르겠어요. 이렇게나 많이 할지도 몰랐었고 이렇게 많이 했는지도 몰랐었는데 어쨌든 서로 게임을 같이 하는 데 있어서 행복함과 즐거움을 느끼고 또 그만큼 성적이 나왔었다 보니까 어느 정도 끈끈하게 유지가 됐었던 것 같고 그래서 이렇게 로스터를 유지함으로써 게임을 하는 데 있어서 더욱더 즐거움도 플러스 되기 때문에 더 끈끈하게 발전되는 것 같습니다.
I think it's a very tricky question, but I don't know. Back in the days, I didn't even see this coming. I was not expecting us to stay for such a long time. Sometimes even now, I forget that we have been together for such a long time as well. I'm just not aware sometimes. But I think we just always find a great experience together. Also, we have accomplished so many great things together as well. So we were able to feel very kind of satisfied with the runs that we kind of make happen together. So I think that's the power that let us stay together as a team.
And then finally, as you head to Gyeongju, what is your determination that you want to share with your fans from all over the world?
그럼 마지막으로 이렇게 경주 로드쇼를 향하게 되었는데 마지막으로 팬분들께 각오 한마디 부탁드립니다.
일단은 이제 썸머 시작부터 지금까지 응원해주신 분들 너무나 감사드리고요. 저희 여정은 아직 끝나지도 않았고 이제 또 하나생명전을 만나서 결승전까지 갈 수 있도록 하나생명전을 꼭 이기고 이제 결승전에 가서 이번에는 더욱더 더 좋은 성적을 낼 수 있도록 노력 많이 할 테니 끝까지 믿고 응원해주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
Thank you so much for your support throughout the summer season. I really appreciate it. But I want to say T1's journey is not over here. We're going up against Hana Life Esports in the next match, and we will make sure to get the win and head over to the finals as well. And also in the prior answer, Owner already mentioned that he beat Hana Life last season in the same kind of matchup format. So he said he's pretty confident as well. So let's see what's going to happen there.
All right. 감사합니다, owner. T1 owner, world champion, all pro, one of the greatest to do it here. Congratulations on the win and best of luck in Gyeongju. 감사합니다.
Yeah.
All right. As they depart, let's